And I'll be recording this presentation, so anyone that uh, wasn't able to attend, I'll post it to our YouTube channel, so you'll be able to reference that back. So I'll go ahead and get started. This presentation is going to be an overview of our new integrated credit card and ACH processing. And it's one large holistic project where it's where we can now email the customer or the dealers the proposals. They can also digitally sign them. So it's also a replacement of our DocuSign integration, which I know will save some of our customers a lot of money because those envelope fees become pretty high over time. And on this presentation, David Hughes and Libby Blitzer are joining. David and Libby, if you want to introduce yourselves here.
Hey, can everyone hear me?
Yep, I can hear you, David.
Great.
Yeah.
My name's David. I've been working with Card Connect, which is a part of Fiserv, for the last 4 years, actually almost five. And I've been in the payments industry in general 9 years, and I help with the sales and onboarding process with our Card Connect division, which works primarily with software partnerships like Windor Quote. And so I've known Paul since 2020, and we've really excited to kick this project off.
My name is Libby, and I work alongside David as his operations manager. I have about 10 years of payment industries under my belt. I've been working with David. I guess I've known David since I think about 2017, 2016 is when we met. And then we just started to team back up again here over the course of a few months. So I work a lot with like the onboarding and general support after accounts are boarded.
All right. Well, thank you, David and Libby. So as they mentioned, they would be the two contacts that the WDQ customers would be working with and have a relationship with right there to get accounts signed up and be the go-to for any questions that come about. So with that, I'll go ahead and get started. And David and Libby will also be doing some presenting here today. I'll log into the demo site. Try to hide that right there. We're going to open up an existing quote. Let's see here. This one. And this is for a dealer where the revenue source is quote. That means it's for a company where like you, the manufacturer, are selling direct to the end contractor or homeowner. And what I'll show you here is in the create order process. Some of you have seen this on your site already. An order disclaimer right here. So I'll show you where this is set up in the software. I'm going to jump back over to the admin side. So there's a new setup page called Setup Settings Checkout. And this is where you can set up your disclaimer language. So we've added what's called a WYSIWYG editor. Think of it just as like a simple Microsoft Word where you can type in your disclaimer language, change the font, bold certain elements, font size, alignments, bullet points, etc. So we have currently four different disclaimers, disclaimer A and disclaimer B. These are for when your revenue equals quote. It's the disclaimer that's sending to the end customer. And you can, the reason why we have an A disclaimer and a B disclaimer is one of our customers in California is opening up another location in a different state. They have different legal requirements. So they requested that we add a dealer assignment pull down menu. So you can have different disclaimer languages for different dealers. And so this is disclaimers that are going to the end customer. And then down below, we have disclaimer languages that are for the dealer proposal. So for you, when you have a dealer network and the dealer is signing or creating the order, you can have different legal language for those two different types of customers. So the text right here is flowing over to here, and we would have them input in a purchase order number. We're recording the date and time, and then the IP address right here. And then we would click continue to shipping, and you can ship it to the quoted address or the dealer address or do something custom. One thing one of our customers has requested is where we have on the quote info page, the customer information, but at that table, but we're going to create a second table directly below it with the job information. So that'll be good for when you have reoccurring customers that you don't want to set up as dealers. So let's say you have ABC Construction, that's the customer. Directly below it will be Susie Q new construction home. So like uh, you'll have that parent-child relationship. So then you click continue to billing, and you can choose the billing address and then continue to payment. And this is where currently everyone has their credit terms, and we can now select via credit cards or ACH. Now I'm not going to do the payment processing yet. I just want to go over a couple other items that we're doing up here. So that same customer in California that wanted the disclaimer A and B, they also want additional disclaimers. So like instead of going from disclaimer to shipping, we're going to have 6 different disclaimer boxes so that you could have the customer accept the terms and conditions for each different disclaimer box. Every one of these things will be dynamically controlled with a simple yes, no box. And then you'll also have the ability to turn off the shipping and the billing. So you could just go disclaimer 1, disclaimer 2 to payment, or disclaimer 1 directly to payment. So will all be 100% dynamic for you. If I go back to the quote info page here, you can see, we have the first name, last name, address, county, state, zip. This, if I go and click menu, email, I'm going to click customer. This is the new email feature where you can directly email the customer proposal to the end customer or email the dealer proposal to the dealer. But you'll see here, the customer name on the quote info page was Joe. And it was a new construction project and it has a valid date of this. So we're going to dynamically populate templates. So it's an automated template, but it creates a personalized one. Like here, we have the salesperson name. Here we have the dealer name. If I go to your email templates back here on the admin side under email templates, we've created 6 new email templates. Here you can see like when you're sending a customer quote and your revenue source is quote, customer quote when your revenue source is dealer cost. So this one that we're working on is customer quote right here. And you can see we have dear parentheses Q first name. Thank you for the opportunity to quote your parentheses project type. And so what that's doing is it's just referencing items from the quote info page or the salesperson page, like here's salesperson, dealer, company name. And so we've added this dynamic library of data fields right here. And so you will be able to customize every one of these email templates by typing in this nomenclature here with the parentheses and like Q first name, Q last name. So it can automatically create a personalized email template. And that same concept is also working for the disclaimers right here. So you could do something like you could spell out things like today's date or window count or door count or total unit count. You can say this proposal is for parentheses unit count right there. And so you can really automate your disclaimer language. And it's so much easier to work with than having us go in and program things for DocuSign, which is always kind of a cumbersome and there's always a programming lead time. Now you can easily update all these things in real time. So so we're back to the dealer side where I have this personalized template. It will auto-populate the customer email address. It auto-populates the subject line. It also auto-populates the quote PDF that generated. And then you also have the ability to attach additional documents to the email. And then you could also go in here and then type in you can modify this template right here. So you just say, hello world, and we'll click send, and it will send the proposal directly to the customer. And so here we have it. So it says, Dear Joe, thank you for the opportunity. And the quote PDF is attached. And we'll zoom out right here. One of the things we worked on as part of this project is we replaced the footer. So it's solved page numbering issues and it's also locked it on the very bottom of the page. So it's just kind of cleaned up those details. And what I wanted to show you here was before we were typing in a date or a date and the customer name and just leaving the signature field blank. Now we're leaving all those blank because with our digital signature, it will auto-populate all those items. And also you'll see in here those terms and conditions that were set up right here on this page. You can choose to include those or not include them in the PDF. So, they're included in the digital signing aspect and then also the printed PDF version of it. And one other item I should mention, I don't have it set up here on the demo site, is in addition to including the terms and conditions right here, you can also upload additional PDFs, and that will be included as appendixes to the proposal for all of your different dealers. So if you have like a really nice brochure, you could include that. So every single time a dealer sends out a proposal, it'll include that brochure right there. Or if you are a manufacturer who also installs, maybe you include something about like an insurance certificate or information about your installation. So all this is just very flexible and easy to use. So I'm going to go back to the email. Here you can see that custom text I inputted. And you'll see this right here. To submit your order, please click this link where you'll be able to submit the required deposit. And it shows the deposit amount, dynamically calculates all that. So we'll click this link right here. And this is what the customer would see right here. We require them to accept the terms and conditions. You'll have the ability to turn on or off the purchase order requirement. So if you don't want a PO to be required, you can turn that on or off. Once again, we're recording the date and time, and then it requires a customer signature to match the customer name. So if I wrote like Sam Smith and click continue to shipping, it says it doesn't match. So I need to make sure I am inputting in Joe Smith right there, and it will allow us to continue. So we'll continue to shipping. So we'll say we're going to the quoted address. We'll continue to billing. And over here on the right-hand side, you can see the order totals and everything. And now we'll select our payment method. So instead of credit terms, we'll select credit card. And here, this is where the customer can input in the credit card information. And we'll see if there's ACH. So if there were any saved payment methods, those would be displaying right here in this pull down menu. And let me pull one thing up here. I have to get a test card number. And then each customer will have the ability to choose if they will save the card for future use. So that will allow you to process the subsequent progress payments on the order, which I'll show you in a later part of the presentation here. But let's just say we're going to save it for future use. And going back over here, we have I just want to show the grand total. The deposit required is being calculated from the payment terms set up on the dealer site for this customer. And you'll see processing fee. So a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to offer credit cards because there's high processing fees. Yeah, credit cards have the higher processing fees, but you can also have the option of ACH. But the nice thing that we've enabled is for you to pass on those processing fees if you want to. So if I go to the checkout setup page, right here under payment methods, you can choose which payment methods are available for your different types of dealers. And if you are deciding to pass on a processing fee. So for credit card, I said, all right, I'm going to pass on a 3% processing fee. ACH, I said, I'm going to do a $20 flat amount fee right there. And if you want to offer ACH but not pass on any processing fee, you would just leave it as that right there. So I'm going to go ahead and click Submit Order. And right now it's processing the payment and converting the quote to an order right there. So it just communicated with David and Libby's software to process the payment. You can see the transaction ID right here, the payment date, the payment amount, payment status, and authorization code. And also we've created this, and this is true for if you're doing credit terms or ACH, this transaction confirmation page where it's automatically populating the quote name, the order ID, and it says a confirmation has been sent to you at the customer's email address. So if I go back here, this is my admin, notifying you you've received the order. And then right here, this is the email that the customer and the sales rep receive. And it says, Dear Joe, thank you for the order. We're looking forward to working with you on the project. Once again, you guys have the ability to customize these templates. So that one is customer quote signed right here. And you can see it. The text is right there. So once again, personalize it with the terminology that you want to. And so if I open up this quote right here, or now it's an order, and I come down here, the contract has been filled out with the name and digitally signed right here. And one thing we're finishing up over the next couple days is these terms and conditions will also have a digital signature with date, time, IP address. So every single appendix page will have, that's a terms and conditions, will have a separate digital signature on it also. So if I go back here, if I refresh this page, so here I just have the quote ID. Now we have an order ID. And if I click order details, you can see right here under signed contract, we've now attached that signed contract. So this contract is digitally attached to this order record and it's going to travel with it for eternity right there. So there's no more printing contracts, scanning them in, uploading them. It's just all happening automatically. And if I go to here on the admin side, if I go to orders, then open, here is our Harvest Street order. If I click the invoice details page, you can see the payment has been automatically applied. We got the payment amount, date, payment method, and the transaction ID. And so for those customers of ours that have the QuickBooks Online integration, if I submit the order acknowledgement, it will automatically create that invoice in QuickBooks Online, and it will also apply that payment to that invoice. So the next part of the presentation is I'm going to show you how do we process the subsequent payments, because there's additional amounts due. And so I'll be going over that, but I'm going to hand it off to David to talk a little bit about the integrated payment processing options.
Thanks, Paul. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, sounds good.
Can you see my presentation?
I can, yeah.
Great. Well, thanks everyone. Um, like I was saying earlier, I work for Card Connect. We are the integrated software partnership division of Fiserv, and Fiserv is the world's largest credit card and ACH processing platform. So we're trusted by a lot of national brands, and we also work with small business owners as well. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is the benefits of integrating payments into your Windor quote. A lot of you might already be accepting credit card payments, potentially through a standalone device at your office or a hosted payment page on your website where people just click and pay an invoice, or you might even be keying in the transactions into a virtual terminal. The benefits of integrating payments into your software really start with the first bullet point by just reducing the mistakes, the manual entry, um, not having to reconcile a third-party credit card system with your Windor Quote software. Instead, when someone pays through Windor Quote's payment integration with us, that workflow automatically just reconciles, making it a really seamless process. And what that does is just creates more efficiency in the business. You're not going to have those fat finger mistakes. You're not going to have all the reconciliation headaches. When someone pays with an ACH or a credit card, it directly talks to your Windor Quote software. And again, like Paul mentioned, you can mitigate the cost of accepting credit cards by adopting a convenience fee or a surcharge in the Windor Quote software. So, but if you don't want to pass that on, one of the benefits is that people that accept credit cards get paid a lot quicker than people that just rely on checks. Uh, One of the things I wanted to touch on is ACH versus check. I actually have a connection to the industry. Paul and I got acquainted because my mom is actually the CFO of a 5 location Marvin door and window dealership in the South. And they recently actually just got hit with check fraud where someone went through their mail and did a watercolor of a check, and it was a nightmare for them. So, check fraud is rampant right now, and actually, the federal government is getting away from most checks effective in February. So, what ACH does is allows you to get that instant funding without the headaches of having to manually process a check or wait weeks in the mail. Um, from a lot of the data we've seen, the average time to have a customer mail a check to you can be anywhere from 30 to 60 days, where if you offer ACH, a lot of our customers that implement that are getting paid within 48 to 72 hours once they send a link to pay with an ACH. and your customers also just have a more convenient way to pay as opposed to simply telling the customer to mail you a check. It just gives them quicker payment options. And what that does for your business is it accelerates your cash flow, which, as we all know, is extremely important. So that's what we're aiming to do with this payment integration is to give you better tools to accelerate your accounts receivable and have better cash flow. And as Paul mentioned, we are going to be offering a payment method on file. It's stored securely on our servers, so you don't have to worry about that. It's completely safe. Um, we do have an annual PCI compliance survey you have to do if you take advantage of this program. And just to back up, there is a device that we offer right here for in the field payments. If that's a use case for your business, we also offer this physical device, and it can be used on Wi-Fi at your office. If you have delivery drivers or sales reps, it also has LTE, which also known as cellular. So it can connect to a 4 or 5G cellular network. I think that's all the slides. We had one slide that we were going to share at the end, but I'll turn it back over to you, Paul.
Thanks, David. David, can you see my screen?
Yes, you're sharing now.
Okay. Okay, good. Perfect. Um, so this is that test order that we created. Let's pretend we got the first payment from them. Let's pretend it's 2 months down the road, and we want to get some additional payments from them. So I want to show you the additional ways that we can receive those payments. So I can submit an order acknowledgement right here. So we just emailed it to the customer or the dealer, and so we can, within the order acknowledgement, we have a link right here. We could click the link, or if we go here, this the acknowledgement is attached, and we can click the link right there. And you can see it looks similar to the create order checkout pages, except it's just for payments only. And so down here, you can see uh, what what was the previous payment. Oh, and actually, I put the amount due as 0. So let me redo this here. Let's just say there's $400 due. And I'm going to click download email again. All right. So this is where the customer, so we sent it to the customer. And if they paid via credit card and they want to pay again, we should have a save card method. So there we have it right there. And once again, we're passing on that processing fee, and then we'll click submit payment. So that's how we could email it out right there. With this saved card method, I want to show you right here under Sales IQ, contact customer. It's Joe Smith here. You can see right here we're saving the card method. So if there's like multiple old cards on file, you can delete those right there. We're just displaying the last 4 digits and the expiration date to keep it compliant. David, could you talk a little bit more about how how WDQ is not storing any of the information on our server? It's just all occurring through APIs and iframes.
Exactly. And let me ask, I have a colleague that may also be on this call. Is Kyle Aceto on the call?
I'd have to see here. There's a couple pages.
I'm looking in the participants. I don't see a Kyle.
Okay.
So, um, but like Paul explained, the cards are tokenized, which means that uh, if there were to be a data breach, which Fiserv's never had one, the people that hack into the system would only get a token, and not the actual card numbers. So similar to when you type in your password and there's that black dot that replaces the letter or numerical character that you type, that's essentially what tokenizing does. So you don't have to worry about um, any of your customers' data being breached or that you have any liability by holding this data in your Window quote software.
Oh, thank you. Um, I'll show you another way that we can process payments. Let's say the customer has saved that payment on file and you're just going to process it on their behalf. So right here on the invoice details page, this is where you can input in that additional payment. So you could select other, and that could just be like cash or check right there. And you down here in the memo field, you could say check number, blah, blah, blah. And we'll say $100 right there. And we'll put in a date of today's date right there. So that's how you can record a check or anything like that. And you can see it right there. Once again, if you have QuickBooks Online, it's going to automatically apply that payment to your invoice right there, eliminating all that double data entry. If they have like a credit card or ACH, like we can select our credit card number right there. They'll auto populate everything. And then we just say, all right, we're applying $750. And I would click save. And now it's processing the payment through the Card Connect portal right there. And there is a fourth method that we can process payments, and David showed that earlier, which is on the Clover physical device. So that device is associated with your Card Connect account, but it's not directly connected to the WDQ software. So let's say a contractor comes in, picks up some windows, you do a card present payment, but that payment isn't associated with an order. It's just kind of a free floating payment. But we've solved that issue because under the accounting payments page, this will show all payments right here for card present, ACH, through WDQ, all that kind of stuff. And any payment that has been made uh, via the card present, you could come in here, edit this, and then select the order number right here. Say, all right, we're going to have this sorted numerically, but this is where you can associate it with a specific order ID and order name. Click save, and then that payment will show up on the invoice details page. So, and with that, I'm going to jump over to a portal that every WDQ customer would have after registering with CardPoint. Log in here. And this is the portal which will show you all of your transactions where this is all of our test transactions right here. You can go in here, view the details. This is also where you can void payments. We intentionally left voiding of payments out of WDQ. We have the capability of doing so, but since so many different people have access to WDQ in different pages, we felt it was best to isolate that feature to people that just have the account access to CardPoint. So David, if you want to kind of walk us through the CardPoint here. And
Yeah, Libby, do you want to walk them through CardPoint and all the different tabs?
Yeah, absolutely. So what everyone is looking at right now is the report for transactions that you guys can see in real time. You have the option to come in here and view them. You can click on the transaction number if you need to. Gives you a little bit more details. Yep, that blue hyperlink. And it's going to give you a little bit more information about the card if you need to grab it. can be found here.
And here's an example of one that we've been testing on the physical device right there. That's one of those examples of ones that we would link on that payment transaction page.
The funding tab, that's going to tell you what was sent over to your bank and when we sent it over to your bank account. There, that is where you would find that information. Chargebacks, retrievals, those are also housed here. If you do get a chargeback, you can quickly respond back to those. Statements, those are available and those can also be emailed out to you. You can come in here and pull those, and then your 1099s, of course, will also populate. Usually around the end of January, mid-January is when you should start to see those. The marketplace, or I'm sorry, the catalog. This is going to be where we can find terminals, and same thing with the marketplace too. You guys have the option to come in and order your own equipment. So if there's something, maybe you need a replacement, maybe you'd like to add additional devices, you can reach out to me as well and I can place the order, but you do have the option to come in here and place the order for those as well independently. The administration tab, this is going to give you a little bit more freedom. So if maybe you guys need to add a bookkeeper or a manager, whoever, if you click on that users tab right up, yep, you can add different users to access it. You don't have to worry about calling in. There is a virtual terminal on here, but if you ever needed to, here's all the settings that you can enable on your own. Batching, you have the option for setting up your own auto closes here. If you needed to, you can adjust the time. The support tab over at the top, you do have the option, instead of calling the 800 number, there is a create ticket. So you guys can submit your own ticket. Maybe you want to do a bank account change, you need to update your legal name. You guys can actually submit support tickets. And you guys do get to see those in real time as well. You get email updates on those. You'll be able to respond back with the advocate who is helping you with your ticket. You know, you'll be able to see where it's at in the queue, if it's been completed, if they need additional information. All that information gets funneled through the support. Of course, I'm also going to be here, so if you have questions, I can also submit the tickets on your behalf as well. Just sometimes people want a little bit more independency. Sometimes people want a little hand holding, and that's fine by me. I'm happy to help either way.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Libby.
Thanks.
I'm going to show you real quickly another quote option where we showed a proposal where the manufacturer is selling directly to the end customer, but we'll do one where you are selling to a dealer. So here we have a dealer whose revenue source is dealer cost. So if I click email and then customer, so this is where the dealer, so this independent third-party dealer is emailing a customer. Generating the PDF, so it's doing the same function as when we click print. And so this is a different email template right here. So if we go back to the admin side, we have customer quote dealer cost right there. And this is that template right there. And we'll go ahead and send it. So then it's already sent right here. And we will click this link. And you'll notice we don't have like the 1, 2, 3, 4 for like shipping, billing, payments. All we are doing in this instance is we're getting a digital signature from that customer for the dealer to get their signed contract. So this is completely a value to the dealer. And once again, you can turn off PO number and put in Richard Vonderfecht, even though he's only 5 years old, he'll sign this contract. And we'll click submit order right there. And it even has a different transaction confirmation page. You can see it. There's no payment records or anything like that. And if I refresh this here, go to quote info, we'll have the signed contract where the customer has signed it, but the actual payments that would be occurring are when the dealer will right here click menu, create order, and go through their create order process to submit to you, the manufacturer, the order and the payment. And so uh, go here. And then this is where the dealer, if they have saved payment methods, let's see if there's an ACH for one of, there we go, we got an ACH. They will submit their payments. And so the deposit required for this is coming from the Sales IQ dealer setup page right here. So we have it says a 55% deposit required. And that's what it's calculating right there. And then we click submit order. So these aren't that's not the customer quoted amount, that's the dealer cost amount right there. And then from there, it flows through normally. So in this whole integration of payment processing, emailing, and all these different disclaimers, we've tried to make it work for every possible scenario, whether you're selling direct to a homeowner or dealer cost, save payment methods, and then the future payments as you complete the project. So if there's any questions over what you saw, go ahead and type them into chat. Libby's going to talk a little bit about what the onboarding process will look like. And um, Libby or David, if you want to pull up your slides, I could just share them on, or David, if you want to share your screen and display the slides, and Libby can go through them.
So the onboarding portion is actually a pretty simple process. So once we understand that, someone is interested in going live with the Card Connect processing platform, we will send out an email where you create your username, and it actually is your username with that website that Paul was showing, the CardPoint portal. You create a username and a password, and then you input your DBA information, and then there's few spots for you to sign, and then you're done. It comes back directly to us and immediately goes to the underwriting. We get notified of it, and then if there's any pins or anything like that, we will be in touch with you and work with you to make sure that everything gets back over to the underwriter and kind of that liaison, so you guys don't have to worry about submitting anything directly. We take care of that whole entire process. And then, as I said earlier, I work with the onboarding support, and then I also do the hand holding after we get you guys boarded. Anything that you guys need, any questions that you guys have, I'll be your point of contact for that instead of calling into the 800 phone number. David and I will make sure that you guys are taken care of and everything's running smoothly. Um, David, am I forgetting anything?
No, you're not. I will say, due to the average transaction ticket and the high volume nature of door and window dealerships, there might be some additional information that's required, like bank statements, things like that. And that's just because applying for credit card processing is just like applying for a bank account or for a credit card. So we do underwriting and just make sure that your business can support the types of transactions you're running. But other than that, it's a pretty straightforward process. Like Libby said, you just, if you're interested in the integration, please reach out to Paul after the call and send him an email. I'm sure Paul will also pass on some of your information to me. So hopefully you'll be hearing from us in the next few weeks, and we can reach out and see if this is a program that you'd want to take advantage of. Um, Typically, we see that 80 to 90% of most software subscribers do take advantage of integrated payment programs just because, again, of the efficiency, cutting down on the redundant nature of having to enter transactions into a separate system and having just that greater efficiency. So, hope to meet a lot of you in the near future. Would be an honor to work with you, and hopefully, this new tool with the ACH and card payments will be a great benefit to your business and help you get accelerated cash flow and cut down on your AR balances. So, thank you for the introduction, Paul, and looking forward to working with you guys.
Yeah, thank you, David and Libby. And after you guys have set up an account, you'd just simply input in the merchant ID for ACH and one for credit card processing here, your username, password, and switch the environment over to production. And all that paperwork they were talking about, WDQ is not involved in that. That would just be a private interaction between you and David and Libby. So Libby, one question here is kind of related to CardPoint. It's just asking about how the funds flow from the customer to us, and what is the process for chargebacks?
Yeah, so the funding is next day funding typically. I believe, David, is the cutoff 11 p.m. is what we have. So as long as you're batching out before then, you should see the funds the next day.
Yes, 11 p.m. Eastern time. So for those of you on the West Coast, you'll just subtract 3 hours. But that shouldn't be an issue since, it's door and window dealerships and not a bar or restaurant. And then ACH is 2 to 3 business days.
And then as far as the chargebacks and disputes go, that's pretty normal across the board. So it works like most other credit card processors. We have to pull the funds from your checking account in the event of a chargeback, and then you are notified via email about those chargebacks that come through, and then you'll just grab any of the supporting documents. There is a dispute team with the Card Connect team. So if we do need to get on the phone call with the dispute team, we can definitely do that. Retrievals, of course, we don't have to pull the funds. They're just doing a soft inquiry, just wanting to know about the transaction. So, but again, same process. You get notified of those. We can do it via email, or if you prefer the letter in the mail, we can do that too. But I think for the most part, everyone likes to be notified via email.
Okay. I just wanted to point out one thing is, WDQ, we're a Omaha, Nebraska-based company, and so is Fiserv. In fact, they're just about a mile from my house. So one of the reasons we chose them is just keeping it local there and have those personal relationships. So doesn't look like there's any other questions on the credit card processing. Um, but so David and Libby, thank you for your time. And I was just going to go over, just while I have a lot of people on here, we got about 10 extra minutes, just do a brief introduction of some other programming we're working on that you can look forward to as we upload sites. So I hope to release this programming to people throughout May, and so they could start using it come June 1, so you could do the onboarding process in that time. But some things that we've worked on, and I'll just kind of list them off right here, is design pressure calculation, where for your mold assemblies, based upon your tributary width and your mullion coupler length, we've created a table where you can input in your positive and negative pressure, design pressure, and the system will calculate out the performance of the configured line item. Then you can also specify the you can also specify out the required design pressure. So it'll tell you via an alert if you are not meeting, I have the alerts turned off right now for this demo, but it would tell you if you're meeting the required design pressure for that project. So we're doing that for mold assemblies, but then also just for singular windows where you just want to evaluate the gateway size. Some other one is TigerStop integration files for their new tablet touchscreen system. Binning, we've redone our binning logics for optimized cut lists where it will just keep it much more organized, where every single uh, unit on a order has a bin ID assigned to it. And so even if you have multiple carts for different cut lists, each unit is going to use the same bin number. So everything is just much more organized that way. And then on the production report cover page, it tells you what the bin number is for each unit. For a lot of our customers that build single hung and slider windows, they wanted marginal grills, which is a version similar to Prairie. I could probably show you here. Um, where it just doesn't have that bottom pattern on it. So, so I don't know if these are, oh, I gotta change it to a single hung here. So with this, you can configure it for the bottom sash for a single hung and also the top sash. So you'll be able to see that right there. So we have single marginal and double marginal. We've also re-enabled production batching, so you can do multiple orders within one production group, and you can choose which files are generated on an order level and which ones are generated on a group level. So like you say, all right, we want our cut list to be per order, but for our glass order forms and our screen order forms or production forms, we want to do those on the batch level. And one of our customers builds some standard size doors. So we've always had the standard size method in the software, but now you can configure line items by call size. So instead of saying 36.000 inches, it could say 3/0 by 6/8. So it just puts it in some of those terms that people are accustomed to that, do a lot with lumber yards. So there's a question about design pressures. Are those loaded in by WDQ from each state's website? So you would be inputting in the design pressures. So on the mullion setup page right here. So you would take your lookup table that you've done all your testing in, and you would say how many columns of tributary widths are there, and then how many mullion lengths are there. So here we have like 4 tributary widths. In reality, you'd probably have like 20 and 20 heights right there. You input in those values, and then you input in the test values. So that's how it works for a mold assembly. And then for your individual products where it's just a singular unit and you're using more of the gateway size, some of you that do like Miami-Dade County testing, you have more range of values. So you can set up testing by glass package, and then you can create rules right here that say, all right, unit width is less than or equal to this, unit height's less than or equal to this. This is our positive and negative pressure. And then I can go to table B and say, all right, so this is the exact same as table A, except my width's just 36 to 40 right here. And then table C, I have another one. And so you can go up to like 10 tables and set up all these different values right there. So that's how you would set that up for design pressure. And for all these things, we have training videos in the library. Some upcoming programming that we're working on over the next couple months is a detailed glass description where I'll show you this here. Instead of just saying like the glass package name and then like in a separate line item tempered. It's basically going to be a copy of what we do on the glass details page in the production report, where it could list out the assembly details like, all right, it's 3.9 millimeters, tempered 366 over 3.9. So we'll have a setting where you can choose if you want to use the current uh, glass description or this. So it'll just be a simple toggle, just like switching from cost plus to list price. So with this, it just if you have more like an architectural based consumer, I think they might like this detail. If you're just selling to homeowners, then the current method is probably better for you. This is one uh, right here for manual line items. Instead of just being a small pop-up, we're going to make this a full-size web page where you can upload images, and then we'll add that WYSIWYG editor where you can type in, a full paragraph. So this is for a customer that is a dealer for an entry door manufacturer. They wanted to utilize their images and add some text in it and include it all within their window proposal. And so then the page within the quote PDF will look like this right here. We're working on some machinery integrations for urban welders, GED welders and corner cleaners, GED glass cutters right there. So as we keep on adding these different machinery integrations, you'll be able to simply turn those on or off. Once again, just easy to use settings like, say, all right, we don't use this file or we don't use this one. You can just turn it on or off, or like, I don't have a tiger stop, but I have a Sturt saw. So you'll be able to turn on or off what is relevant to your business right there. Some enhancements to the entry door series, additional sizing methods, and then the ability to retroactively change the inputted sizing method and size that was originally inputted when creating a line item. Finally, going to add a radius input for half eyebrows and eyebrows, so you can input in the radius, and then this will also solve the girl intersection issue that we currently have. A big one a lot of people have asked for, it's probably the most technically complicated one, is we're adding laminate decorative glass and tempered glass control per sash. So for like those consumers that want to pinch pennies and like for a single hung window, they only want the lower sash tempered, but not the upper, you'll have that ability. And then we're adding some cross-section drawings so where you can create some renderings of the sill and jamb and head details right there. And one other one, this is a custom proposal we worked on for another customer, but we're going to implement the concepts into other programming over time, is we have the image uploads of like decorative glass, hardware, things like that. We'll add the ability to display the images within the quote PDF. That'll probably require us to go to a smaller font size and do a different layout, but it's something that we're looking to add this year. Let's see, here's another question. So that's for the save payment methods. The save payment methods are saving on each customer's CRM record will have their specific save payment methods right there. So no, there's no other customer would ever see these save payment methods right here. And it's just specific to that customer right there. And then same thing with the dealer, where if the dealer had a saved payment method, those are there. And one thing I want to show you is here's that original quote that I sent out to the customer, Joe Smith. They've already submitted the payment and everything, converted it to an order. Once that order has, or that payment's been submitted, this link has expired. So we're enabling that security there. So and then it's all going to all these emails are just coming out of the same SMTP service that you that sends out your order acknowledgments and invoices and packing lists and purchase orders currently. So and that's something that we may update within the next year is to add multiple SMTP services so that on the templates page, we'll have a pull down menu similar to the users here, where you can choose which SMTP service sends out each individual email. So that would require you guys to set up additional services. But usually there's no cost to SMTP or email accounts. So that's something we're looking to do over the next year. So if there aren't any other questions, we hit our 1 hour exactly. I will stop the presentation and I'll post it to YouTube so anyone that missed it can view it. So thank you everyone for your time and questions, and thank you David and Libby for presenting today. Have a good one.